a loss of a son or a daughter or whatever is horrific under circumstances where you're not sure whether they should have been there in the first place by being 17 and maybe because they weren't 18 being underage. Maybe that's, you know, a bitter pill to swallow anyway, you know. Each individual was an individual in their own right. You know, Jace was a cracking lad, you know, a handsome babe magnet. You know, everywhere we went, they loved him. You know, he'd be the head turner if we were in pubs. You know, he was a funny Cockney lad. He was a cheeky lad, you know, gift of the gab and a real fun lad to be around. Scrivs was an older head on young shoulders. Nothing fazed him, you know, an amazing man, you know, come from the Yeovil area, West Country type of individual. Very strong, but amazing presence. And Gross was a family man, loved his family, so proud of his brother, you know, in the army, and loved his mum, loved his dad, loved his sister. I think the first time I realised that there was an actual battle about to happen was when Mike Argue, our OC, gave the briefing on what was expected of each individual, and his last words were, "May your God go with you." And I can remember reflecting and looking at him thinking, you know, he knows something that we don't know. And walking back to the bivvy area where the rest of the lads were, packing the kit, ready for, you know, the battle that evening. And then obviously, you know, forming up with the rest of the lads and marching off towards London. I personally started to think about what was going to happen and what was before me. And that's when, I suppose, my age first hit me, of being on the island at 17, thinking, this could be my last night alive. I'm not allowed to drink in a pub, I can't vote, I can't watch an X film, you know, not married, haven't had kids. And I suppose then you really start reflecting on, should I be here at this moment in time? You're proud to be there, you've got the red beret, you've trained hard to actually achieve that. So within yourself, you think you're a man. But the basic facts are, as you're walking towards that battle, which is an unnatural environment to be placed in, you are considering, you know, your age. Suddenly there was a great explosion, gunfire everywhere, and then we were told that basically Ian Mackay had tried to take out the position and had jumped into the position with grenades and set it off. We were then formed up to say that we would now take that ground. On the word charge, we all stood up and ran towards it, and that's where everyone got wiped out. I could hear everyone screaming, and that's when I realised Jace wasn't about. Ian Scrivens, another 17-year-old, called out and said that he had Neil Gross and he'd been shot and was in a bad way. I left the position that I was in and crawled back and saw Jason first, and Jason had been shot in the head and was killed instantly, just laying on the ground. So it was left with me and Scrivs. Neil Gross was between us. I put my hand on Scrivs' shoulder to say, we'll move him, and that's what I wanted to say. But as I put my hand there, Ian Scrivens was shot, but we had snipers around. Every time you moved, they'd be picking you off, and it would ricochet off the rocks. You could just hear the zipping through the thing, these single shots. And he was shot, and he was shot in the neck. And the next moment I had blood on me, he fell over me. And so there I had Neil Gross laying there, Scrivs on top of me, which I pushed off for that moment, and I suppose that to me was the most frightening moment of that evening at that point, you know, where I thought that the majority of people, I didn't know, Steve Jelf was the other 17-year-old, there was 5 of us. You know, 2 were killed, you know, I knew Scrivs was dead, the Gross was very badly injured, and there was myself. I didn't know where Steve Jelf was, and I really thought at that moment in time that, you know, I wasn't going to survive, that this was going to be it. And then, so I held Gross for a while in my hands. Gross coughed up one last blood clot as I remember. I said, stay with me, you know, the helicopters are coming. And he said, I know they're not coming, but thanks Tom. And that was it. The last breath comes out and it's all over. I was proud to go and serve at 17, and I would hate now to be judging the deaths of my friends as a waste of time. You know, who could ever say that? We did what we did at that moment in time, and unfortunately they've paid that ultimate price. As a man now, as a 40-year-old man, I look back and maybe I consider different things, but time has given me that luxury. Not everyone had that.